All right, guys, just go over the few kinds of things on the quiz so that it'll make sense to you if you do the retake. So the first type of question has a table and a bunch of numbers in them. All right, now the first question here is, what is the domain? The domain is all the x values. And so all the x values here are 1, 2, 3, and 5. Now for the range is all the y values, 6, 2, 5, and 9. So that's kind of an easy example. Domain is x, range is the y values. Now you'll probably run into a situation though that's more like this, x, y. So in this case, if I wrote the domain is going to be 1, 2. Now I see 2 again, I don't record duplicates. So you only want to record the possible things that are in the domain. You don't want to include duplicates. So we just skip the extra 2 and we do 3, 5. And now for the range, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Looking for duplicates, and if there were any, I would have removed them in that range set. Now the question you'll be asked here is whether or not this is a function. So what does it mean to be a function? To be a function, it means that an x value will always give you the same y value. Here, let's take a look at the number 2. When I plug 2 into my machine, I get an 8. But also, when I plug in 2, I get a 9. So I get 2 different outputs for the same input, therefore it's not a function. Let's go ahead and look at what this is like when we graph it. So when we graph it, it's going to look like this. I've got 1, 7, I've got 2, 8, I've got 2, 9, that extra point, I've got 3, 10, and I've got 5, 12. So using the vertical line test, if I get my ruler here, my vertical line, this satisfies the vertical line test. These points, though, violate it because the same x value will give me 2 different y values. The x value is 2, I get 2 different y values, so that would not be a function. All right, let's talk about another one. Let's take a look at functions. So let's say a function is f of x is equal to 2x plus 1. Well, if I wanted to find f of 3, then I would do 2, 3 plus 1. And solving this out, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 1 is equal to 7. So what I did is every time I saw the letter x, I replaced it with a 3. And then we just solved it out. Now let's do an example here that involves a bit more trickiness. Let's say we have f of x is equal to 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. And I want to find f of 1. So to do this, we're going to do 3. I'm replacing x with 1. All right, 1 squared. 1 squared is just, well, let's look at 1 squared. 1 squared is just 1 times 1. That's 1. So this goes to 1. So I have 3 times 1 minus 2 times 1 plus 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. That's my answer. Now let's say I wanted to do f of something negative, f of negative 2. So now I'm going to have 3 negative 2 squared minus 2 negative 2 plus 1. Well, what is negative 2 squared? Well, let's just make a little box and think about negative 2 squared. When you see this squared, it means there's two of them. So negative 2 times negative 2. Now a negative times a negative is a positive, and so we just get 4. So I'm going to replace this thing with 4. So I have 3, 4 minus 2 times negative 2. This is negative 2 times negative 2. We're going to have a positive 4 plus 1. That's going to give us 12 plus 4 plus 1, which is going to give us 17. And that's our final answer. Okay, next one. This is how to tell if something is a function by looking at the graph of it. So if you've got a graph like this and you have something like that, then this one, let's try taking out our ruler and checking the vertical line test. If I go along here, the red line crosses the ruler at only one place at a time. So this would be a function. Let's look at something else though. What if I had this and I had that kind of shape? Well, you can tell right here, this isn't going to be a function because some number like, I don't know, 7 or something is going to have that output and that output. So the same input, the same x value would give me two different outputs, y values. That's not going to be a function. All right, let's go on. So that's the vertical line test. If a vertical line slices through at more than 1 point, then it's not a function. Functions will only have 1 point go through. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more question. This time I'm going to draw my grid out a little bit more carefully. And let's make some numbers here. And I'm going to draw a function here. We're going to start here. It's going to go up here, and it's going to end right there. Let me fix that a bit better. It's going to end right there. Okay, that's an open circle. Okay, so the question here is find the domain and the range. So the domain is how far to the left it goes and how far to the right it goes. So let's take a little journey here, and following along here, we're going. And how far to the left? When we're talking about domain, we're talking about x values. Talking about the range, we're talking about y values. So the furthest x value here is 1, 2, 3, negative 3. So for the domain, I'm going to write negative 3, comma. Now I'm moving to the right. I'm following this to the right, and I end up at 1, 2, 3, 4, at 4. So my x values, my one furthest to the left is negative 3. My one furthest to the right is positive 4. The next decision I need to make is whether I do a rounded or a square bracket. Because this is a filled-in circle, I do a square bracket like that. Because this is an open circle, I do a rounded bracket. And what that means is that if I'm a little bug walking along here, I can get as far as negative 3, and I can actually arrive at negative 3. If I'm the bug walking to the right, I don't actually ever get to 4. The little bug here gets to 3.99999, but it can't actually reach 4. So that's what that set means. All the numbers from and including negative 3 up to, but not including a positive 4. Okay, for the range. For the range, we're talking about the lowest value and the highest value. So range is up and down this way. Now the lowest value, imagine I'm still this little bug walking up and down my thing. The lowest value the bug can get to is this 1, 2, 3. It looks like this, negative 3. And so for the range, we're going to write negative 3, comma. Now what's the highest value the bug can get to? What's the top of this roller coaster? The top of this roller coaster is up here at 4. So negative 3, comma 4. Now it includes the 4, because it can actually get to 4. Here's the bug up here at 4. But we don't include the -3 because the bug never actually gets to that -3 line. It gets to -2.99999, but it never gets there. So we're going to do our rounded bracket there, and that's our domain, and that's our range. And that's it.